Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you enter into the room, please hit the like button. I really would appreciate that. Um, this is a very special report. I want to show some pictures, but there's so much glare that I don't know that I'll be able to do so. But I will attempt to do it so this way you have an idea of what happened in this particular spot. But it's really bad. It's really, really bad. The reason that I wanted to do this particular video is actually twofold. Unfortunately, hey, pretty brown eyes, how's everything? And how's Princess doing? I hope everybody's doing fine. I really appreciate you coming into the chat and watching me. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away. Well, she didn't pass away in the nursing home per se, but she had bounced around between the nursing home and the hospital. Also, my mother-in-law has been subjected to a couple of very bad nursing homes. I almost lost my wife to a nursing home. She's doing good. Thanks for asking, and I certainly will let her know that you said hello. I will definitely do that. And right now, there's a very good friend of mine who's currently in a nursing home in Yonkers. I'm not going to give out his name because I don't want him to get any blowback because of this video. So that's why I'm protecting him, his face and everything, and his name. I don't want any repercussions to come his way. But the fact of the matter is, this particular nursing facility is, I can't, and the sad part is, it is by far not the worst that I've seen, but they've definitely been neglecting him, no question about it. I mean, obviously, because of his illness, he is not the same physically. He's not able to move around very much. He's pretty much confined to either his wheelchair or his bed. And the lack of occupational and physical therapy that is being given to him is ridiculous. It is neglect, pure and simple. In fact, when I went there, now mind you, he has been between the hospital and about 4 different nursing homes over the last 2.5 years. And when I went to this particular nursing home, I mean, he had, now mind you, this guy is one of those guys, he's a neat freak. He likes things done a certain way, and he likes, I mean, he's a very, very neat person, very clean person. But meanwhile, and again, I don't know if you guys are able to see this picture. I mean, it was an absolute mess. It didn't make any sense how disgusting his area was. And I'm going to attempt to show it. Again, you probably can't see it too well because of a glare, but I'm going to do the best that I possibly can so you can have an idea. I mean, this was absolutely disgusting, the way his part of the room was. And then when we asked the housekeeper to come around, the housekeeper goes, "Oh no, that's the way he wants it." Listen, that's an out and out lie, and this woman is an absolute disgrace for even telling me that lie. But mind you, she asked could she do it? He never stopped her from doing it. But you know what? My wife took it upon herself to clean the area. And she did a very good job in doing so. And it went from what I showed you earlier to where it was very neat, very nicely done. Again, I hope you guys can see this because I understand because there is a glare here, but she did a wonderful job in straightening out his living quarters, something that housekeeping had failed to do. They hadn't made up his bed. I mean, he had accumulated so much garbage. I mean, they never even threw it out. It was downright disgusting. But this is what we deal with when we put our loved ones and the people that we care about in these nursing facilities. And it makes listen, you have to check up on these people. You can't just show up once or twice and not show, because unfortunately, a lot of these people will take advantage of that. In fact, here is the garbage that my wife had picked up for him. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see it, but unfortunately, because of the glare, that's the best I could do. In fact, I went back. Unfortunately, when I went back yesterday, they just did basically the same thing. They did not clean up his area at all. In fact, it almost looked like it was prior to us showing up there. And again, we were just up there on Saturday. We came back on Tuesday. And again, unfortunately, this is not the worst nursing home that I have experienced. I mean, there are a lot of issues when you deal with these nursing homes. Unfortunately, I have an example of, I have visited, in fact, this was about 3 years ago. I visited my wife in her nursing home. I mean, she was in a nursing home for about a month and a half. I'm going to do this long story short. I almost lost my wife 3 different times. She really went through it. She had COPD, emphysema, and congestive heart failure. So we went from the hospital to a nursing home up in Riverdale. I'll give the name out. What the heck? It's called Citadel. They are a horrible nursing home. And unfortunately, a lot of people send their elderly there basically because either they don't have the time or they just don't want to be bothered. But unfortunately, when you send them to these facilities, unless you do your due diligence, I mean, let's face it, it's just a huge, huge problem. And unfortunately, you have people there, and especially now with COVID, there is a huge nursing shortage. When it comes to nurse practitioners, when it comes to home health aides, when it comes to the medical profession, period, there is such a shortage. And luckily for our sake, what happened with my wife happened prior to COVID. But now it seems like they hide behind, there's a shortage due to COVID-19. A lot of people are not coming in, this, that, and the third. Let me give you one example. There was one time where, luckily, I spent the night with her in her room. Now, during that time, a guy who was part of the facility, he was a client of the facility. Now, he had mental health issues, He actually came into my wife's room. Now, could you imagine if I was not there, what could have happened to her? I mean, I had to physically escort the guy out. And no, I did not hurt the guy. I mean, the man was mentally ill and he did not do anything to my wife. So there was no need for me to get extra physical, so to speak. But I did have to get physical. And it was late night, by the way. And again, I was spending the night because I was watching over her. I mean, again, she was going through a lot at the time. Now, unfortunately, me and my wife somehow got into trouble for this. Now, meanwhile, that was a lawsuit waiting to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, could you imagine if I wasn't there, what could have happened to her? Anything could have happened. I mean, I don't even want to speak on what could have happened. But we were called into the coordinator's office. I mean, we were pretty much chastised. And in fact, the outcome became that we got transferred into another facility. Now, they have two facilities. They have one called the Citadel. The other one was the Plaza, which was on the other side. It was close to the VA hospital in the Bronx. And let me tell you, they were absolutely no better. In fact, they were much worse than Citadel. You know what? As far as cleanliness was concerned, Citadel was worse. But as far as treatment was concerned, they were about the same. But I could make the case that they were worse because let me give you an example of what happened at the Plaza. At the Plaza nursing facility, rehab facility, I mean, she was pretty much neglected. In fact, she was neglected to the point where I would have to get her oxygen tank and have to set it up for her. And I would have to do a lot of things that the home health aides would normally be doing for her because they did not do anything. And we would call them and there would be like hours upon hours of her not receiving any type of care unless I physically had to go to the nurse's desk and I had to pretty much escort one of the nurses in there for her to have anything done. Now, overnight, my wife was sent to ICU to another hospital. Now, despite having my information where they could contact me, I was not contacted. So I made the trip over there because I was going every day to see my wife in that facility. When I get there, I'm all of a sudden told, oh, she's not here anymore. She was sent by ambulance to XYZ hospital. I'm not going to give out the name of that hospital. And then I'm like, okay, forget the fact that you guys did not notify me, but may I have her clothes? What clothes? She don't have any clothes here. Are you serious? So after cursing them out, I go to the hospital. And she was in the emergency room there. And from there started a long journey. But luckily we're blessed. She's doing a lot better now. And I really hope that my friend gets better, even though this facility, I don't trust it, but we're going there much more often. And that's something, if you have someone that you love and that you care about in these nursing facilities, you have to make sure that you're there. I mean, you cannot just go there once and not go there again because unfortunately and not everyone is like that, but unfortunately there are a lot of people in these nursing facilities who, quite frankly, do not like their jobs. And they take it out on the client. They really do. I mean, that's why you have to do your best to take care of yourself so you don't end up in these facilities. And let's face it, we know that a lot of things happen, especially as you get older. I mean, we break down. And unfortunately, there's no avoiding needing some type of medical care. But as long as you can avoid it, you do whatever it is in your power to avoid going into these facilities. I mean, they're supposed to be there to take care of us when needed. But unfortunately, the only people that they're taking care of is themselves and their pocketbooks. And during these trying times, especially we're not out of the woods yet when it comes to this pandemic. And they do skirt the rules and hide behind the fact that, listen, because of the COVID band-aids, we're not able to do X, Y, and Z. And they certainly take advantage of these things. And when it comes to certain social workers, they're pretty much do a halfway, I can't even say decent job, because the fact of the matter is they're trying to do the less amount of work as possible, and it's very sad. But unfortunately, that is the rule of the day so far in these facilities. Now, I understand the hospitals are not, I mean, they're sort of a step, I'll say one notch better. But the facility that my friend is in right now, again, I've seen, unfortunately, but they're definitely in the bottom 10% as far as I'm concerned. And from the outside, when you look at it, you would think, wow, this is a nice looking place. It seems like they do a lot. But their attitude, now, not the front desk. The front desk attitude is pretty good. But when you're dealing with the nurses and the staff, I will dare to say about 85% of that staff has been dreadful. And I'm being very, very gracious in saying that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure if you can, do your due diligence about that facility before you make sure to put your loved one in that facility. Because let's face it, when you're dealing with these nursing homes and the attitudes and the lack of care, it is basically a matter of life and death for your loved one. So please be careful. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Uncle Claude signing out. Please take care of yourself, stay safe, and remember, make sure to think twice before you send your loved one into that nursing home. Do your due diligence with the nursing home before you decide to make that decision. Thank you, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.